For the community, by the community. Hi, Somi. Welcome so much. Thank you for joining. This is Somi Arian from InSpeak.xyz, founder.
InPeak, yes.
InPeak, sorry. I get InPeak confused with Femspeak, another project you're behind. Somi, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a tech philosopher, entrepreneur, both Web 2 and Web 3. I have two companies. My Web 2 company is a marketing agency. Our biggest client is Steinway Pianos, and we work with some other companies as well that we help them, stay ahead of the curve in digital marketing. And then InPeak is a Web3 education platform. Is not just Web3. Over time, we are going to also focus on other areas of emerging technologies, but right now the majority of the focus is on Web3. Yeah, exactly. You're in it right now. And if you go to the upcoming sessions, you will see some of the things that we are working on. The sessions that we've got going on a weekly basis. And I can see that the site is being a little bit slow as well. But yeah, so we've got, and actually the team are literally uploading new sessions as we speak.
Nice.
Yeah, so we have got a lot of different, we bring in builders, we bring in people who are working in different companies in the Web3 space. And the ones that you see like they don't have an image is because they're literally being added right now. So we are constantly adding new sessions. And then once the sessions are run, they go into the on-demand section, and people can. Hello, I'm Somi Arian, and that's my podcast, and you can see some of the guests that I've had. And then we have the on-demand section as well. So essentially, what we are building is right now we are focusing mostly on the European and US market, but eventually our plan is to run sessions, 24 sessions a day, 7 days a week in different languages. That's what we want to do. And so constantly keeping people ahead of the curve in emerging technologies. I believe that we are potentially, approaching a technological singularity over the coming couple of decades. And I want to build the biggest platform that keeps people ahead of the curve as we are moving towards that, and constantly giving people curated content and educational content. So the sessions are very interactive. People come in and can ask their questions. There's educators take their questions. We are also collaborating and partnering with some really great names in the space. Right now we've got Zeneca has just joined us. We are going to be hopefully I'm not sure when this is going out. Oh, I think it is live, isn't it? So
yeah, we'll make some edits and stuff.
Yeah, so like he's just joined us. We haven't made the full announcement yet, and we've got some amazing people coming on board to build this platform together.
That's awesome. So just starting off, you're a tech philosopher. Love that title.
Yeah.
My background's actually in economic philosophy. I have a degree in philosophy. I would love to hear kind of just generically what that entails.
Sure. Yeah. So essentially what I do is I study the impact of technology on society. That's what I do. And I studied philosophy, political philosophy, and philosophy of science and technology. And I've done quite a lot of research on how technology is changing the future of humanity. So that's an area that I work on. I can hear, by the way, some music in the background. Is it yours or mine?
That's mine. Yeah.
It's yours. Okay.
A little bit of white noise.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. There's we here at Secret Network have a very strong ethos about where we think that Web3 is going, where technology is going, especially with a lack of privacy. What are your thoughts on the need for privacy in the future of technology?
You know what? You just touched on a very raw wound on my heart. I will tell you something that happened to me. I'm a big believer in privacy. I really feel that there needs to be a way that we can verify people are good people, and verify that they are worthy of having access to things like being able to travel freely without having to subject them to the kind of privacy I suppose the word I'm looking for, intrusions that comes with the general laws and things that we have around us. Like, for example, I was supposed to be in NFT NYC last week, and I couldn't go there because I was born in Iran. So they didn't give me an ESTA. It was very upsetting. I spent probably around $300,000 on various NFTs to be in different communities. Spent just $140,000 just on one NFT, on my Proof NFT, to be at the Proof Collective event, and I couldn't be there because I was born in Iran. They didn't give me an ESTA, and I went there in 2017. I didn't have a problem getting an ESTA. That seems to be a new rule put in place by Donald Trump, which hasn't been overturned after him. So this is a great example of that my entire personality going under question just because I was born in a specific country. Whereas really we need a different way of verifying that people are worthy of being able to be to be in certain places, or access to different things without necessarily questioning their identity in a way. Like my identity, like I haven't even been to Iran for 17 years. I don't even have an Iranian passport. I was just born there. Just because
Yep.
I was born there, that
Yep.
doesn't define my identity. Do you see what I mean?
100%. And even then, like, just the idea to get passport or anything, like if you want to purchase content and you have to be 18 plus, like anything going on, like you shouldn't have to put in your driver's license and your social security card or all this different information, some site that's trusted that can get hacked and all that gets leaked and sold elsewhere. And there's like everywhere Web3 is going, where we're all on Twitter right now checking out like, oh, at what price does Celsius get liquidated and whatnot. None of that should be shown. We shouldn't know that Mark Cuban bought $400,000 worth of Titan just because he won an NFT auction, and now we know everyone he's ever interacted with. Like, it is a huge flaw in the system that's being overlooked just because it was difficult. And so now what we're doing with NFT badges is it would be an NFT that you can't transfer to different wallets. Like, you have to have provable ownership of it, and so you can do like a one-time verified certification that, hey, I am, check this box, I am male, I am 21 plus, I am this and that, and then you can use that to whitelist into things that would typically need proof of identification or stuff like that. But from a philosophy background, I mean, we pride ourselves in like trying to set things up from the perspective of a veil of ignorance, but then everyone reaps either the rewards or the consequences of not actually being ignorant of somebody's kind of birth lottery. And so just the fact that you were born in Iran, shutting you down from coming to New York City is absolutely ridiculous if you could verifiably prove without showing who you are everything
And
that
I'm
you've done in the life that you've lived.
exactly, and I'm a British citizen.
Yeah.
Like I'm a British citizen. Like I shouldn't have to. Like I'm traveling on a British passport. So it's it's ridiculous, and I do worry sometimes with blockchain that we might be actually almost regressing in the way that we are approaching privacy. For example, one of the Proof members who has created, Ryan Carson, who has created a crypto, an NFT fund. He's just been like bombarded by people because he's just had to sell his NFTs so that he doesn't have any kind of conflict of interest with the fund that he's building. But people are posting really terrible things on Twitter, and saying things about like how much he sold it for, or how many moonbirds he liquidated. And it's like, wow,
They shouldn't
like,
know. That's none
yeah,
of their business.
yeah, right, exactly. So it's really scary that like people can actually know everything about your life. And I don't think that blockchain was supposed to do that, and it seems to be a bug, not a feature.
100%. And so, yeah, we've had private smart contracts on mainnet for 2 years. Still, we're the only one that has it, and just nobody really knows about us. But just what it enables for NFTs, where you can sell subscriptions securely, people can't share passwords. Kevin Smith just made his new movie as an NFT. Quentin Tarantino made his stuff as NFTs because they can evolve and have private metadata. Like, there's lots of cool things that can be built. It's just we have to push the narrative, and it's tough to push the narrative with people who are already Web3 centric because they don't focus on things that are their weaknesses. But whenever you're getting new people into crypto and you're like, hey, we need this, it makes total sense. I mean, if you want to go in the bathroom and leave the door open while you're urinating, go ahead. But aren't you glad that there is a door and that you have an option to be private? That's kind of what we
That's such a funny. Such a funny metaphor. I will remember that.
So a lot of what some of the organizations you're involved with are doing is focusing on bringing more diversity to Web3 as well as more technical industries. What is the current status of diversity or the lack thereof?
I think we should probably talk about lack thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, how can you have diversity if people like me are not even allowed to travel? Right? Like, how can you have it, right? Like I'm like one of the, and what I did, I actually, when I wasn't able to travel, I tweeted at the U.S. state, no, sorry, not the U.S. immigration, and I reached out to everybody I knew, and hundreds of people retweeted it. No response, nothing. And when I sent them, they've given me an appointment for January 2023. Can you believe this? And like
Must be really expedited.
I know, right? I sent them an email with like the Twitter thing. So the thing, my point is that I don't want to keep banging on about this visa thing, but it's just that thinking about the fact, how can you have diversity if people of diverse backgrounds are not allowed to participate? And also the other thing is, like, there are all these these kind of biases, that unconscious biases that are everywhere, like for example, I hear on various podcasts where people are talking about they say that the industry, like, it is never a mention of how what that means to women, women's role, or people of diverse background. Is like the majority of the conversation is white dudes of a
100%.
certain age, right? Like maybe 20 to 50-year-old white dudes. So like there's no even consideration of other people's input, and that's really worrying, because we are going into this accelerated phase of human evolution as a result of technological advancement, and we need everybody's diverse input as we build these technologies, because otherwise we are going to risk building technologies that are just not broad enough, not considering it's kind of like anything else. If you think of like natural selection, the more varied the options, the better the mutations, right? The more variety you get, the more interesting forms of life is created. It also applies to technology. Similar kind of thing. It's exactly the same thing in technology. So in short, I think my answer is that from what I see, the state of diversity isn't really improving, not as much as I would like to see, definitely not. And part of it is, to be honest, it's a vicious cycle, right? Like, so yes, the people who are creating these technologies need to kind of make an effort to bring in other people, but also the other people, the people of diverse background, like women and people of other backgrounds, they need to make an effort too to join as well. So it's a two-way street. It doesn't go like just one way. So I had a very difficult time. So before we had InPeak, we had Fempeak, right? So and then we have rebranded Fempeak to InPeak. So
Okay.
with Fempeak, initially our focus was on bringing in more women. Well, it was so hard to get women interested, because they're not used to. A lot of times women are just not used to thinking about finance and technology. So and I was like, as an entrepreneur, I realized that I can't scale this. This is not going to work. So we rebranded from Fempeak to InPeak, because also I thought that this way there will be more of a possibility that the members will be able to interact and share knowledge, because the truth is, right now the majority of knowledge in this space is lying with the white men who have had more access to the space. So that doesn't mean that you have to cut that out and say, like, I'm going to build something that's like not excluding them. No, if anything, you want to include them because you want to learn from them. So it doesn't help anybody. That's why we realized that we need to focus on inclusivity and bringing in everybody together.
100%. And while it's culturally popular at times to speak about diversity, which then gives it a bad out view, like, oh yeah, people just focus on diversity. Like people, many don't understand why there's such a focus on diversity. From the beneficial to the world standpoint, it's not like, oh, they need opportunities too. It's like, no, innovation doesn't take place if you don't have external viewpoints. And so,
Yeah.
like, you look at old Stanford experiments or whatnot on psychology, and it's like, oh, this is how humans think, and like all of the tests are done on like mid-20s white males. It's like, no, that's how mid-20s white males think. And if you
Mhm.
use that test and you expand your user base, you learn all kinds of new stuff. And then all of like the field of psychology is taught based on that being accurate data, and it's just not. Similarly, like just technological innovation, if you're taught how to think in school, and how tech does work and how it's supposed to work, and then somebody comes in, like even a child, just anybody with any kind of different experience who hasn't been taught how to think, they can see it from an objective and different perspective.
Yeah.
So we will not have tech benefiting all of the world, as well as we won't have tech innovating properly if we don't have diversity in opinions and viewpoints.
Exactly. And no matter how much you try to force yourself to think from first principles, you can't do that, because you are going to be conditioned by all of the things that helped you, get to where you got in life, right? How can you think from first principles if you've grown up, let's say, with digital technologies all the time? You can only do that if you can put yourself outside. So it's kind of like being a fish in the sea, right? You can't think what it's like being outside the sea. So the only
100%.
way that you can get that perspective is by if you were the fish in the sea, by talking to the birds that are outside flying, and say, hey, what's it like to be flying up there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I see we have
I'm
lots of questions
strongly
here.
I strongly admire what you're doing. I'm doing what I can to employ women and people of color because they're great at their job, just in general. But we're also, while I try to approach things from an economic first principle perspective, I don't know beyond economic first principles, and they are doing everything great with rhetoric, with social stuff, with incredible art coming out. So we're happy for the project I'm building, Hydro.finance, which is fun. But in general, you're talking about what the problems are and what kind of solutions need to take place. What actions can we take to bring that about? And in addition to hiring more diverse groups and teams, how can we onboard? You talked about the struggle of scaling Fempeak. How can we onboard more women into the space, more people of color into the space? How can we get them interested as consumers or as community members?
Well, like I said, it's a two-way street. It's like, you can't be what you can't see. So one of the most important things that you can do is like what you're doing now, like interview me, right? So it's like one of the best things that you can do is to try and find, even if like there are very few, like just find those few and highlight them so that others can see them and say, like, that oh, look, she's doing that, or he's doing that, and I can do it as well. So it's just that it's kind of like anything else. Building momentum is difficult. Once momentum is built, then it will be easy. right now, we with this diversity issue, we are at a point that we are at the beginning of it, right? So we are at the beginning of this effort. It's something that only recently has come to public uh, view and attention. I remember when I first came to the UK 2005, these things were not talked about. I remember even 2015, when I was trying to I left my job at a Persian language TV channel in London, and I wanted to go into British TV. And I couldn't find a job. I couldn't get a job. It was like so hard for me to get in, because the British media is quite snobby, and like they didn't necessarily want to have, like, they weren't interested in diverse talent. It just wasn't a thing. It was really around, I'd say around 2017, 18, that people started to have conversations about it. And like maybe 2019, 20 began, and then during the pandemic, it started to increase. So it's really very, very early days of these efforts in bringing more diverse talent. And it's starting to become something that more and more people are becoming aware of it. I remember there was a time where saying anything negative about say homosexuality, or like gay people, etc. Like this was there was a time like 20, 30 years ago, that this was okay. Like people would just was okay for them to talk about it that way, in a similar way. But now you wouldn't dare, like it's like so accepted now that, and people, if you say anything negative, other people will look at you and like, what kind of person are you, right? And I think similar kind of things starting to happen in terms of diversity, but it's not yet quite there. And I think it might be another 5 years or so before we start to really see a meaningful shift.
Yeah, fair enough. But in the meantime, we all do what we can, and I'm really big fan of what you guys are doing with InPeak. And how can we support you guys as you continue to push that narrative and be the change you want to see in the world?
Yeah, so just what you're doing already, it's a great platform for learning everything to do with Web3. So just join the platform, learn. There's quite a lot of incredible sessions. Just join the platform and learn as much as you can. And
Mhm.
that's it, really. This the best way. The you will see, if you go into the sessions, you will see that we've got a very diverse group of educators, and you can join, and that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I've been seeing the emails we get from you guys with regular updates. They're really encouraging. You give a wonderful, wonderful array of podcasts and detailed information. You can learn all kinds of stuff about crypto, Web3, and more from the
Yeah.
technical side. I love people approaching tech from a philosophical perspective. There's actually quite a few philosophers in our ecosystem. It's been fun talking to them. So
Amazing.
thank you so much, Somi. And do you guys have live NFTs that we can purchase?
Right now, we don't. We're going to release NFTs in July, but we have decided to delay that. And also we were going to be releasing an NFT collection that was initially going to be 10,000 women, and then we would be like 10,000 men, and then we would create allyship. But we feel that the market is not quite ready for those types of numbers. And for our Genesis NFT, we are going to go with a lower number, especially in this market. So it's
Yeah.
probably going to be around September, October. At the moment, we have shelved the Fempeaker collection. We are still giving away in some of them in contests and things like that. But in terms of the mint date, has been delayed for that one at the moment. So be on the lookout. If definitely if people join the newsletter, we will let them know, and on our social media as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll give you a proper shout out and send people towards your guys' Twitter page and your guys' website, and look forward to bringing more women, people of color, and diverse perspectives to all of Web3. It's the only way that we evolve and that we grow and build something that's sustainable and good for the world.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you for deciphering the secret code. For the community, by the community. New episodes every Sunday. Secret Sunday.